Thank you for your answer, Mr. Mayor. Now, in your transport strategy, you say you want 80% of journeys to be made either walking and cycling or by public transport by 2041. That's your aim and your target. Does that 80% figure include taxis?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. But you've said in the past, taxis are a vital part of London's public transport system. So why does that 80% figure not include taxis if they're a vital part of London's public transport system?
I think the focus has been, if I may answer that, the focus has been clearly on the work to ensure that there is bus service accessible, an accessible bus service for everyone across London, which is why we're doing the work we're doing to reconfigure the bus network, as we discussed earlier on, and to ensure that we continue with the modernisation of the underground network, and indeed continue with our quest to have greater control over London suburban rail networks, for example, the routes into Moorgate that we were discussing earlier on. That does not mean that taxis haven't a part to play in terms of moving Londoners around the city, and the support given, as the Mayor outlined, to the black taxis in particular in terms of taxi ranks, of an increase from 500 to over 640, 20% increase, as the Mayor said, the promoting of the knowledge, the working with the taxi trade to ensure access to bus lanes. So I think they are an important contributing factor, but it's not included in the core number.
Okay, I hear your answer. I'm disappointed with your answer to that question, but let's move on. Now, you have offered the taxi delicensing scheme, a fund for taxi drivers who need to upgrade to a zero-emission capable taxi, particularly the ones who are coming up to their taxis being 15 years old as they drop out of the licence. But the amount of money has been reduced from 42 million to 18 million. It's gone down by £24 million. Where's that money gone?
Well, firstly, it's worth reminding the Assembly that of the £42 million, only £485,000 had been used. So the previous scheme that was consulted on before I became Mayor, that was supported by the taxi trade, is clearly not fit for purpose because nobody's using it. Of the thousands of black taxis that would be eligible to de-license their vehicle using the scheme, only 192 have taken advantage. So we can leave that pot of money just sitting there, not doing what it's supposed to be doing, or we can devise a new scheme that's fit for purpose that encourages more drivers to de-license their vehicles. We had more taxi drivers take advantage and express an interest in the new scheme in the first 24 hours than the previous 17 months put together.
How many?
Well, we're publishing those figures shortly, but more than 192 in 24 hours.
Okay.
So clearly, the new scheme is more advantageous.
Well, I mean, that's good.
One of the things, sure you'll welcome that then.
Well, one of the things in your new scheme is that you have increased the maximum amount available from 5,000 to 10,000, but only for 250 taxi drivers, the first 250. But as there's now more of an interest, shouldn't you have kept that at 42 million? I mean, my question was, where has the rest of the money gone? Have you simply reallocated that 24 million into the diesel scrappage scheme for vans? Is that where it's gone?
No, that's not where it's gone. But I have in a previous Mayor's question time, Chair, said that I'm happy to look into if there is an interest from the taxi trade to de-licensing, which means the amount of money we would need would be more than £80 million.
But it must, okay, fine, but it must be somewhere.
Well, okay, fine, but
so I just wonder where has it gone? It's a simple question. I mean, you've sort of propagandised your scheme and it's new and there's some new features of it, but where has the rest of the money gone? It doesn't seem you're going to answer that question today. But let me ask you about the number of zero emission capable taxis that you've got. You mentioned there 1,100 have already been registered. Now, you talked about a target of having 9,000.
Previous Mayor's target, but which I think is important.
But you're sticking to that target.
I think we should.
Okay, and is that by the beginning or the end of 2020?
Well, it's during 2020. I think one of the issues that people have raised with me is the production capacity of the of the plant producing the new taxis. I've been up there to see them. They are absolutely fully mobilised, delivering these fantastic new vehicles, who, by the way, as you will well know, when drivers drive the new vehicles, do think they're fantastic, as well as passengers with the additional facilities that they have. The question
was, I mean, it's a simple one, is it by the beginning or the end of 2020?
It's during 2020.
During, so an unspecified date in 2020.
Well, during 2020. I mean, I think, you know, you can be overly precise with these figures.
To be fair, that chap who you're a big fan of, it's his target, so if you're going to criticise somebody, criticise him.
Well, I mean, you're the mayor now, so you do need to actually be able to talk about the delivery of those things.
To be fair to the current mayor, it was set by the previous mayor, and as you're a big fan of his, you'd welcome that, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, you want 9,000 taxis to be zero emission capable because you're sticking to the target. I mean, so anyway, even though we have to have that many, I mean, you say you're going to stick to that target. One issue with those is there simply aren't enough charging points for the taxi drivers who have bought ZECs to be able to access them. You said there's only 150. What are you going to do to increase the number of rapid charging points for these 9,000 ZECs that are going to come in the next year?
So of the target we had, my target was to have 150 rapid charging points by the end of 2018. We have those.
There are still queues, though. There's still not enough.
Sure. More than 60 are reserved just for taxi drivers. What we're trying to do is to work with local authorities to make sure that they also assist in making sure the rapid charging points are on the thoroughfares that are used by taxis. You're right. A taxi will take, roughly speaking, 20 minutes to half an hour to charge their taxi. If you're third behind that, that's you waiting for an hour. Clearly not good enough if your trade is being on the road earning customers. So we're speaking to councils. The infrastructure committee is working also to see how we can accelerate the rollout of rapid charging points across London. It's not true to say, though, that the reason why only 192 people applied under the old scheme was because of lack of rapid charging points.
Okay. Another thing you mentioned,
on the rapid charging points?
I haven't got much time, so can I just ask you another thing about bus lanes? You have increased the number of bus lanes initially, but now there are schemes such as Tooley Street, such as Tottenham Court Road, where access is going to be restricted to taxis. Will you allow taxis to continue going eastbound in Tooley Street and along Tottenham Court Road?
We've had a consultation in relation to that particular road, and we'll respond to the consultation in due course.
I would say generally on bus lanes, this is, as you know, a right that we've defended for taxi drivers in court. There are still some roads where there isn't access to bus lanes for taxis on borough roads, and we continue to work with boroughs to ensure that access is as widespread as it can be. It's a very important issue. As the Mayor says, there's various consultations which I wouldn't want to feather the outcome of, but it was a very highly responded to consultation.
Okay,